girl.
Yeah.
We're wasted at the bar, now we're gonna go
To the bar.
and actually get wasted. Dual athletes, believe in yourself. You can do anything you put your mind to. Anything. Anything.
Sorry.
Are you drinking already? We did actually go out to the bars and, well, to a bar. The Mayor in Fort Collins, one of our favorites, to meet up with some friends, have a few drinks. Although my alcohol consumption was quite modest on that day, I did have a really awesome burger. But those are all things we like to do, and that's going to be the main theme to this entry. Is that you need to put, we need to focus on having fun while we're in here. And right now for me, fun is getting stronger on two particular lifts: the bench press and the front squat. Let's see. So I am right now in my training. I feel not so good. I feel not so strong and all the way there when I am in the gym. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I just wrapped up a volume block. And even though they look pretty good, they're moving quite well, they don't necessarily feel that way. But this has been, I guess, this is one of my focuses as I wrap up this off season, is getting stronger on the bench press, bringing up the front squat. And I guess to a lot of my bodybuilder colleagues, it's like, well, why would you do that? Like, what is the reason for doing this when you have a very big season on the horizon, and you should probably be focused on goals that are a bit more specific to the final product you do put out on stage. And I guess indirectly, focusing on these things helps me because it really makes me look forward to training. It really helps me kick it into another gear. So getting stronger is something that I enjoy. It's at this point, I have much more potential to get stronger compared to muscle gain. So, once you're at a certain point, I'd say like high level intermediate, the rate at which you can gain strength versus gain muscle, they significantly happen faster in the strength department. So for me, this is a way to, I guess, objectively see progress while I'm still waiting to diet and see if it actually worked, right? So that's kind of the point that I want to bring up today, is that sometimes there might be certain things that someone's doing in their training that doesn't necessarily appear to be 100% optimal, and that's without context. So for me, it's getting stronger and focusing on the bench press and the front squat, and they take up about 30 minutes of my gym time every time I do have to perform either one. And again, like to other people, it might be a little different. So maybe you are someone who really enjoys like intensive work, right? You like things like drop sets, and on paper, to some people, that might not seem like the most optimal way of maximizing muscle gain. However, if it keeps you happy and it keeps you in there, there's no reason why you shouldn't sprinkle that across your training cycle. So yeah, for me right now, that is those are my I wouldn't say my current most important goals, but they are things that inspire me to make it to the gym. Not that making it is an issue, but like making it and being there all the way mentally and not going through the motions. So, which is very easy, and it happens to everyone at a certain point. I can think of like two specific occasions during this off season where I was just kind of floating. Yeah, I think for me, having a strength component in there is also going to be important once I do start dieting for shows, because it can become very easy to become overly wrapped up on the cosmetic side of things. And while bodybuilding is not a performance sport, what you look like up there is pretty dependent on your performance the weeks and months leading into that show. So yeah, it keeps me distracted. It keeps me from being too much of a bodybuilder to, have these objective measures in my training. But with that said, I am still spending the majority of my time doing things like this, bringing up my hamstrings, trying to fill up those gaps in my physique. However, while I'm waiting for this to happen, as I mentioned before, muscle gain just happens a bit slower at this point, at least for sure, relative to how quickly I can progress with in regards to my strength gains. I mean, this year, for example, or last year, maybe I put on, I don't know, like 1 pound of muscle, maybe less than that. Whereas, I can see a 15% increase on a specific lift. That's not out of the question necessarily if everything goes pretty according to plan. So yeah, in the meantime, you're going to see a lot when I do go over my program. You guys are going to see that, yeah, there's a lot of bodybuilder in there, but this dude really enjoys getting stronger. So yeah, but again, never ever is it really at the cost of like my secondary work. I take all that stuff very seriously, and I shouldn't call it secondary work, my isolation work, if you will. But yeah, this week went really well. This was the last week in this volume block, and this was 285 for a set of 6 on the bench press. This is yeah, I think this is the best my bench press has felt in quite a few years. I think since 2014, when I did do my last powerlifting meet, and obviously I was bench pressing a little bit more then, but I was very happy with this. This was one of those days where you write it down on the spreadsheet, you put it on there because it seems like it makes sense, but you're still a little nervous driving to the gym, and a little doubtful as to whether or not it's going to happen. But bench pressing went according to plan. Later in the week, I did have to make a few modifications to my front squatting, as you guys will see. But again, like I might spend 20 to 30 minutes doing my bench pressing, but the other hour and a half is dedicated to things like this, to targeting body parts that I need to bring up. And this, so like for example, yeah, like my back and the Penlay row are very important movements to me right now, and I take them just as serious as my bench pressing. Although how we progress on these is a little bit different. It's in the higher rep ranges, and it's a bit more auto-regulated at this point. So yeah, I don't know if I'd consider myself a power builder. I am a bodybuilder who, more than anything at this point, he's like completely committed and dedicated to being, yeah, the best bodybuilder he can be, and is lucky enough to, compete with the best in the world. So that is my main focus. However, I'm at the gym, and I while I'm there, it's like I might as well get stronger. There's nothing wrong with that. So that is, I guess, my closing statements on what the theme is going to be for a lot of my programming. This day, I had a 5x5 scheduled on the front squats. My thoracic spine was just totally fried from upper body work earlier in the week. I knew I was feeling twitchy, but I didn't think I could hold a front rack with 315 for 25 reps. So what I did instead is I made a few modifications, and I went for triples with 315, worked up all the way to 345, which this is a lifetime PR on the front squat. 345 for a set of 3, and it puts me, if you calculate my estimated 1 rep max, it's very close to what I set it up for this block, 365. However, the fact that it's still kind of hanging on there, that it hasn't gone down all that much, makes me feel very optimistic about the next training block, and the fact that that once I taper a bit, I might be able to add another 10-15 pounds to my estimated 1 rep max, and that'll put me like somewhere in the 370s. So that's very exciting. And after I hit that, I regained my confidence. I made a deal with myself that if I get 315 for a set of 5, I could just leave it there. And that's exactly what I did. Actually, no, I did a few sets at 315 before that. I was supposed to do 2 sets at 315, and instead I just went for the big 5, and that was the deal with myself. So yeah, things are going really well in regards to these lifts. And this next block where I will be tapering a bit, I look forward to sharing with you guys. But yeah, we still have gaps to fill. And one thing that I'm trying to bring back again is the Romanian deadlift. That one I stopped doing simply because I felt like I didn't hip hinge as efficiently as I wanted to. See, I'm practicing it right there. But with homegirl right here, my partner, Liana, she's been wonderful in helping me sort out this issue. I think years of deadlifting have made it, deadlifting for powerlifting purposes have made it so that it's really hard for me to just perform a pure hip hinge. I want to use a little bit of quads. I want to use a little bit more of my back. And it's getting there. It's still not perfect. And what she's doing here is yeah, I'm supposed to make my butt touch her hands, and when I do, that's feedback that I'm doing it right. And the sooner I can do it in the movement, so before I dip down too low, because if I'm going, if the dumbbell's moving down my shin and I still haven't touched her, chances are I use the wrong set of muscles there. Also, doing it with shoes, I think it helps me keep the more appropriate shin angle for this. So that's been a little breakthrough. But yeah, we're going to run the rest of this off season, the Romanian deadlift, just to see what we can do back there. I have been using other alternative movements to try to hit those specific heads of the hamstring. However, I really want to rededicate myself to this, and it's challenging. And I think just that bit is being not good at something intrigues me, and I want to get good at it. So thank you, Liana, for touching my butt. This was my last set here, and I think this was probably my last set of the day. And I really look forward to actually being able to look back at this and see how much I have improved. But it's still not there. I mean, when I look at the way Jeff Alberts does his Romanian deadlifts, it's just... It's another level good, and it shows in his physique, obviously. He's got some of the best hamstrings in natural bodybuilding. And while my legs are a strong point, my hamstrings, they just don't have, and a lot of it is structural, they just don't have that look that a lot of other guys have. You got mauled by a bear in the back of your leg kind of look. So yeah, that is where I'm at right now. Front squats, bench presses, we're trying to bring those up, all the bodybuilder stuff, and then trying to learn to perform a Romanian deadlift correctly. And to be quite honest, it's probably one of those movements that, man, I easily can say that maybe 1 out of 10 people who do these routinely actually do them well. Like, I'll flip through my Instagram and a lot of people are allegedly Romanian deadlifting, and no, you're not, dude. So yeah, finished off with some glutes on this day. Pull-throughs have been a staple this off season, and since I'm not deadlifting, and that's just because I have no general interest in deadlifting right now, as of right now, this has been a nice little movement to fill up those areas. Yeah, glutes is something that I, as long as I guess I walk on 2 feet, they stick around, but this movement feels very therapeutic, and especially after like a big heavy squat day, it just kind of gets blood in there, and I do feel it expedites recovery. But yeah, that's this week's report. We'll leave you with some pull-throughs and some veiny quads, and I'll see you guys here next week, and expect my next training block to be in the description sometime around Thursday. Okay? Thank you, guys.